Some stars of a popular auction show took a break and never returned to your screens. What really happened to them?
Before Dave Hester became a household name on Storage Wars, he had already spent decades building his reputation in the resale and auction industry. Growing up in California, Dave was exposed to the world of antiques and collectibles from a young age. His father was a train collector, which gave Dave his first taste of how items that seemed ordinary to some could actually be highly valuable to others. This early exposure planted the seed for what would become his lifelong career. By the time he was in his 20s, Dave was already working as a professional bidder at auctions, sharpening his instincts and learning how to recognize items that could turn a quick profit. Unlike many people who stumble into the storage auction business, Dave had discipline and focus. He treated every auction as both a game and a science. He developed a sharp eye for hidden value, trained himself to recognize materials, craftsmanship, and even small clues like packaging or storage boxes. Over the years, he ran multiple consignment shops, reselling everything from furniture and antiques to collectibles and artwork. This experience gave him a big advantage when he later joined Storage Wars. While others relied on luck, Dave relied on knowledge, and that made him a tough competitor. Fans may remember his YUUUP catchphrase as his calling card. But behind that bravado was a man who had spent years mastering the art of auctions and negotiations. His background explains why he often outbid rivals. He knew exactly what he was looking for, and he trusted his instincts more than anyone else. One of the most surprising parts of Dave Hester's rise to fame was how his simple bidding call, YUUUP, became bigger than the show itself. At first, it was just his way of standing out at crowded auctions. Professional bidders often use quick calls, hand signals, or phrases to signal their bids, and Dave's stretched out YUUUP became his signature. It was loud, clear, and impossible to miss, which made it both effective and entertaining. Once Storage Wars aired, the catchphrase caught on like wildfire. Fans repeated it, joked about it, and even started using it in everyday life. Dave quickly realized the marketing potential and began printing YUUUP on hats, shirts, coffee mugs, and even his trucks. It turned into a personal brand that made him money beyond the show. The word became a meme, appearing in viral videos, remix songs, and internet jokes. Even people who had never watched Storage Wars recognized the phrase. For Dave, this was more than just fun. It was smart business. He understood how to turn attention into profit, which matched his hustler personality perfectly. While some of his rivals thought it was annoying, they couldn't deny that it worked. His catchphrase gave him a cultural identity, one that made him unforgettable in reality TV history. In a way, YUUUP became his battle cry, a sound that declared his presence, confidence, and dominance at every auction. One of the most exciting aspects of Storage Wars was the intense rivalries between bidders. And Dave Hester was always at the center of the storm. His aggressive bidding style often frustrated other buyers, especially when he raised prices just to make them spend more. Daryl Sheets, known as the Gambler, often clashed with Dave because both men loved big risks and hated backing down. Jared and Brandy, the husband and wife team, frequently complained that Dave's tactics made it harder for smaller buyers to compete. Barry Weiss, though more lighthearted, also had his moments of tension with Dave, usually adding humor to diffuse conflicts. These rivalries weren't just for show. They reflected the very real competitive nature of auctions. Every locker was a gamble, and winning or losing could mean the difference between thousands of dollars in profit or a complete loss. Dave's willingness to push people's buttons made the show unpredictable. Fans tuned in not just to see what treasures were inside the lockers, but also to watch the fireworks between bidders. In many ways, Dave became the villain of the show, the one everyone loved to hate. But as any TV producer knows, a good villain is essential to keeping viewers hooked. His rivals may have disliked him, but they also recognized that he made the show more exciting. Without Dave's confrontations, Storage Wars would not have had the same level of tension and drama that made it so addictive. Dave's time on Storage Wars reached a breaking point in 2012 when he was suddenly fired. Fans were shocked, but the real drama came afterward when he filed a lawsuit against A&E and Original Productions, the company behind the show. Dave claimed that the show was staged, with producers allegedly planting valuable items inside lockers to make episodes more dramatic. He argued that this misled viewers and created unfair conditions for bidders. While the network denied the allegations, the lawsuit drew massive media attention and raised important questions about reality TV as a whole. Was everything we saw on screen real, or was some of it manufactured for entertainment? The lawsuit was eventually dismissed, but it left a shadow over the show. Some fans became skeptical, while others simply didn't care as long as the drama continued. For Dave, the lawsuit damaged his relationship with producers and fellow cast members, but it also showed that he wasn't afraid to stand up for what he believed was right. His downfall revealed the fine line between reality and entertainment, and how stars of reality TV often struggle with how much control producers have. Even though he returned to the show later, the controversy forever changed how people saw him in the series. Today, Dave Hester remains one of the most recognized names in storage auction history. Even people who stopped watching Storage Wars still remember his voice, his YUUUP call, and his fiery personality. His impact goes beyond television. He has influenced the way many people see auctions, reselling, and treasure hunting. Some credit him with popularizing the storage auction business and turning it into a mainstream curiosity. He proved that an ordinary industry could become entertainment gold with the right mix of personalities, risks, and surprises. For Storage Wars, his presence helped shape the identity of the show, making it a global hit with spin-offs around the world. While newer bidders and formats continue to refresh the series, Dave's legacy is secure. He may not always be on screen, but his voice echoes in every auction, and his reputation as the ultimate reality TV hustler remains untouched. As long as there are storage lockers waiting to be opened, the spirit of Dave Hester will be part of the story. Loud, competitive, controversial, but unforgettable. When Storage Wars first aired on A&E in December 2010, nobody could have guessed that a show about abandoned storage lockers would become one of the most popular reality TV programs of its time. The idea was simple, but very exciting. When people fail to pay their storage rent for 3 months, their units are put up for auction. Buyers have only a few minutes to peek inside from the doorway and decide how much to bid. They cannot touch anything, cannot step inside, and must trust their instincts. This created a perfect storm of suspense, risk, and drama. Every episode showed the buyers trying their luck, sometimes finding priceless antiques or collectibles, and sometimes ending up with worthless junk. Viewers were hooked because it was like watching a treasure hunt happen in real time. By the second season, the show was already breaking records with millions of viewers tuning in. It wasn't just about lockers filled with random items. It was about the colorful cast, the rivalries, and the possibility of striking gold. The producers kept the focus on the thrill of discovery instead of the sad stories of people losing their belongings, and that made the show fun instead of depressing. Very soon, Storage Wars became a cultural phenomenon, inspiring spin-offs in different cities and even different countries. What really made Storage Wars work was not only the mystery of the lockers, but also the unique characters bidding for them. Each buyer had a distinct personality that made them memorable. Daryl Sheets, for example, loved chasing big risks and always looked for the wow factor. Jared and Brandy brought humor and a family vibe as they ran their thrift store. Barry Weiss became a fan favorite with his eccentric style and witty remarks. But among all of them, one man stood out the most: Dave Hester. He was loud, aggressive, and never afraid of a fight. His signature bidding call, "YUUUP!" became so popular that he even printed it on shirts, hats, and trucks. Dave was not just there to buy lockers. He wanted to dominate the auction and push others to their limits. Sometimes he raised the price just to make his rivals spend more, which caused plenty of on-screen clashes. He had real experience in the business too, running consignment shops, and even starting his own auction company later. Whether fans loved him or hated him, they could not ignore him. Dave's strong personality made every auction unpredictable, and many people tuned in just to see what he would do next. While Dave Hester's fiery attitude made for entertaining television, it also caused real problems behind the scenes. Tensions often ran high during filming, and producers had to be careful to prevent arguments from turning into something worse. The turning point came in 2012 when Dave was suddenly fired from the show. This was shocking to fans because he was such a central figure. But the drama did not stop there. Dave sued the producers for wrongful termination, claiming that the show was unfair and even staged at times. The lawsuit made big headlines and exposed the behind-the-scenes struggles of the show. Although the court eventually dismissed his case, the damage was already done. Dave had shown that reality TV is not always as smooth as it looks. Despite everything, he returned in later seasons, proving that he was still a key part of the show's identity. His story highlighted how reality TV thrives on controversy. Sometimes the very thing that makes a star popular is also what causes the most trouble. Most viewers of Storage Wars thought the show was all about spontaneity, but in reality, a lot of careful planning went on behind the cameras. Before an auction was filmed, producers would scout multiple storage facilities to make sure everything was ready. Lighting, sound, and camera angles had to be tested. Microphones were hidden on bidders, and backup equipment was prepared for unexpected problems. However, the bidding itself was never scripted. The buyers knew when to show up and where to stand, but their decisions, trash talk, and reactions were genuine. Once filming ended, editors would cut hours of footage into a short and exciting 20-minute episode. They highlighted the best moments, whether it was Dave yelling, "YUUUP!", Daryl shouting, "Wow factor!", or Brandy rolling her eyes at Jared's mistakes. This editing created a rhythm that kept audiences hooked. While the show looked simple, it was actually a carefully designed production machine. Everything from camera placement to legal checks on the auctions had to be flawless, because even a small mistake could cause trouble. This behind-the-scenes effort explains why Storage Wars looked both authentic and entertaining. At the same time, one of the biggest reasons people loved Storage Wars was the thrill of seeing amazing treasures discovered in the most unexpected places. Over the seasons, buyers stumbled upon items that were worth thousands, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Daryl Sheets once spent $3,600 on a unit and found artwork worth around $300,000, the biggest profit in the show's history. Other buyers found a vintage 1959 Gibson Les Paul guitar hidden under blankets, rare comic books in sealed condition, or a chest filled with gold coins. There were also shocking moments that didn't involve profit, like the time Daryl opened a locker and found what appeared to be a human corpse wrapped in plastic. These jaw-dropping discoveries kept fans glued to their screens. Every episode carried the possibility of a life-changing find, which made ordinary storage units feel like treasure chests. The mix of risk and reward made the show addictive, and many viewers even started attending real auctions themselves, inspired by what they saw on TV. With fame came controversy. Dave Hester's lawsuit was the biggest, but it wasn't the only legal problem the show faced. Some former storage unit owners claimed they were not properly notified before their belongings were auctioned off. California law requires several written warnings before a sale can happen, and A&E's legal team had to work hard to make sure everything followed the rules. On top of that, fans often speculated that the show staged certain events or exaggerated the value of items to make things more dramatic. The network always denied these claims, insisting that appraisals were done by real experts. Still, the rumors only added to the show's mystique. Whether or not everything was completely authentic, the drama, surprises, and controversies made Storage Wars unforgettable. Dave Hester, with his larger-than-life personality, became the symbol of that tension. Fans loved to hate him, and that made him priceless for ratings. Over the years, Storage Wars has become more than just a TV show. It has turned into a cultural phenomenon that inspired spin-offs in Texas, New York, Canada, and even Europe. Catchphrases like Dave's "YUUUP" entered everyday conversation. Thrift stores and flea markets noticed spikes in visitors whenever a new season aired, as people were motivated to go treasure hunting themselves. The show influenced a generation of resellers who wanted to turn junk into profit. It even seeped into pop culture, with parodies appearing in cartoons, jokes on late-night shows, and remixes of Dave's "YUUUP" used in music tracks. The simple idea of bidding on forgotten lockers captured the imagination of millions. For many fans, Storage Wars was not just about money. It was about the excitement of second chances, the fun of discovery, and the drama of rivalry. Dave Hester may have been controversial, but he was also unforgettable. His energy and chaos were a big part of why the show became so iconic. Even after 15 seasons, the lockers are still not empty. The show continues with new episodes, new bidders, and even the return of Dave Hester in Season 16. The format has also evolved with the times, as online auctions and digital bidding platforms change how storage hunting is done. Some argue that this takes away the face-to-face drama, while others see it as the future of the business. But one thing is certain: as long as people fail to pay their storage bills, there will always be new treasures waiting to be uncovered. The story of storage